Welcome back, warriors. So, if you've been stressing about your soul mission, your purpose in life, what are you here for? And you feel like you're running around in circles, well, you're in the right place. This video is for you. Today, I'm going to dive deep into the mechanics of manifesting what your heart truly desires. So grab a pen, a piece of paper, a notebook, because we're going to be discussing finding purpose, uncovering true end results, and how the ego will try and sabotage your efforts to change your reality. I'm going to give you a 5-step process that, if followed, will guarantee that you create your heart's desires. Okay, and at the end, I'm going to break it down, give you the science behind it, just for you skeptics out there, but more importantly, just to cement it in your mind even further. So welcome to the Warriors of Light Resurgence YouTube channel. My name's Lachlan John McRae, and right now in this time, we are at the cusp of something monumental. This is our time to shine, to leap into our grandest dreams and timelines like never before. History, we're not just making it, we are rewriting it right now with our own minds. Okay, but here's the thing. If you're trying to create that highest version of yourself and you're looking to transform, the old version of you, it has to go. Okay, I hear many people saying, I want to find my purpose, I want to create abundance, I want a better body, I want love, but they're not willing to do what it takes. Okay, they're stuck in their old ways, same routine, same habits, same eating, hang around with the same people, hoping, wishing for some miracle to happen. But let me tell you one thing, okay? Nobody is coming to save you, okay? Nobody is coming to wave a magic wand and say, poof, there, you can have it all, okay? It's all on you. You're the one that creates the change that you want to seek, okay? It's up to you, okay? So if you have that feeling like I did, that there was more to life, okay, that you were made for more, okay, then let me ask you this. What are you willing to do about it? What steps are you willing to take? Okay, are you ready to truly step into a new phase of your life, to shed that old skin? Because if you're clinging onto that former self, that's only going to stop you from stepping into your soul purpose. Okay, it's about letting go to grow. Okay, think about it. If you're looking to transform your life, uncover your purpose, build a strong body and mind, make meaningful connections, or just be that best, highest version of you. But if you're still lingering in the realm of scarcity, hanging about with people who don't care about spiritual development, personal development, progress, health, how do you expect to manifest a new reality? Okay, because if you're staying steeped in outdated beliefs, misaligned energies, it's not going to cut it, right? It's just not going to cut the mustard. Okay, because embracing change at the beginning, it can be tough, because you're having to give up those familiar comforts. But let me tell you, no growth will happen in the comfort zone. Okay, because we're talking about reinventing ourselves. We're talking about ego deaths and rebirths here. But I'm not talking about annihilating the ego, right? I'm talking about expanding the ego, making it bigger. Okay, growing into that highest version of yourself. That's what we're talking about today. Okay, you're leaping from the small you to the godlike you. And that might seem unrealistic or terrifying, but I tell you one thing, it's worth it, right? Because comfort zones are seductively cozy. I've been there, I've done it, I've wore the t-shirt. But I knew that if I wanted to truly live a fulfilling life, I had to let go of my old self. I had to face my fears head on, right? It's a journey of expansion, becoming everything that you are destined to be. But it doesn't happen overnight. It happens in a series of stages, repeatedly stepping into the unknown, reevaluating everything in your life, from your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your career, your diet, your social circle, your sleep cycle, everything. Okay, but here's the reality. Too many people are sitting on the sidelines waiting for a miracle, waiting for that external savior, where it's divine intervention, cosmic event, solar flares. But let me tell you, regardless of solar flares, cosmic events, if you change nothing, nothing will change, right? We are here to embody divine consciousness, to be the conscious creators of our own life, to experience everything this human experience has to offer, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, right? So it requires facing the shadow, the light, everything in between. Okay, mastering the game of life by embracing duality. Only then will you be able to transcend, reaching these new heights of consciousness and bring about a change that you wish to see. Right? So, where do we start in all of this, you might be asking? But if we are here to be conscious creators of our own life, it starts with understanding how to create, how to manifest. But before we even get started on the mechanics of manifesting your soul purpose, I want to help you understand how and why the ego will try and sabotage your quest for greatness. Because understanding how this aspect of consciousness works can be the difference between you creating magical new end results or recreating more of your past results. Okay, and I know if it was me, I definitely don't want to recreate the past. Okay, because see, when it comes to the ego, what most people don't understand is that any time that you go for something new, any time whether it's make a decision, whether it's getting in shape, starting a business, in fact, any time you have an outcome that you want, right, your ego becomes engaged every time. Okay, because your ego, amongst other things, it's your vehicle of orientation. And what that means is it has to know how things are, especially if you're going for something. It needs to know where you are in relation to where you want to go. Right? That's how your ego operates. It needs to know everything. And I've said it before, if your ego had to decide by knowing how things are and breathing in, well, air, and it meant that if you had no air, you would die, it would still choose to needing to know how things are. Okay? Now, the ego isn't all bad, right? It gets a bad rap. Okay? But it's not all bad, right? It just wants to keep you safe. At its core, the ego is a part of your mind that influences your sense of identity, sense of self-importance. It's like the narrator of your life story, helping you navigate through the world with a sense of personal identity. But it's super important to understand that the ego has both positive and negative roles in our life. And when it comes to stepping out our comfort zone and going for something new, uncovering our purpose, the negative side will activate because the ego, it does limit our growth with things like fear of failure. The ego hates to look bad or be wrong, right? And this fear can prevent you from trying new activities, pursuing, ambitious goals, because the possibility of failure and the association with embarrassment is too threatening to the ego. It threatens its survival. Okay, or you've got comparison and jealousy. When the ego compares you unfavorably to others, that can lead to feeling inadequacy or jealousy. And then that can diminish your self-worth and distract you from focusing on your own path and progress. And that's why they say comparison is a thief of joy. And we're here to experience joy in our life. That's what we're here for, fulfillment and joy. Okay, and it also resists change in a massive way. Massive way. The ego likes to everything to stay the same. Up until now, you have survived. You're alive. You're here. You're well. So the ego likes familiar, and it will resist change in a big way, and especially change leading to growth. Because if you're leading to growth and you're changing your identity, the ego sees that as death, and the ego does not want to die. Okay, for example, if you're staying in a job or even a relationship that no longer serves you, but you're only staying in it because it's comfortable, because the unknown is too intimidating. Okay, it's time to let that go. Okay, so whenever you're aiming for something, something new, whether that's a new business, a career, if anything, the ego is going to pop up and say, you know what, I am here. It makes an appearance. Okay, and it's critical to understand this, right? Because the ego doesn't concern itself with the relevance of the moment or the objective reality of what it is that you're trying to do. Okay, instead of assessing the current situation and the reality of the current situation, it filters everything through the lens of your beliefs, right? And your beliefs are shaped by your past experience. So, is that a good way to look at things? If you're trying to do something new, something you've never done before, and if you're trying to look at that through your beliefs through the past, right? Because what happens is you go to do something, the ego pops up and says, based on what I believe, Where do I stand right now? How am I positioned in this scenario? Right? And because of this, you've got all this going on, it will then say, right, I am limited. It will lead you to feel limited or separate. And this can be real or imagined. And what it will do is it will just highlight everything that's wrong, all the risks that might pop up. Okay, so it basically frames your new goals, your aspirations as risks, as hazards, and it sees potential threats to your safety, your sense of self-worth, your capabilities. And this will happen if whatever it is that you're going to do is going to pop up. So every time you go for something, your ego becomes this active player, alerting you to its involvement. It outlines, all the barriers, all the gaps, all the risks, and then it catalogs, everything, and then it communicates to you through a mixture of your thoughts and your feelings. Okay, and you know this basically what happens is it will tell you everything that you think is wrong. Well, it thinks is wrong in this situation, and it will then say to you, you need to address these right now. Okay, you need to take care of them. Right? And for your ego, everything is a challenge, right? A hurdle, okay? And it sees that you must overcome it. And it does, as I said, it doesn't just signal these through fleeting emotions, it embeds them in your thought process. So then that will lead to a feeling of tension, which will inevitably intensify, okay? And whether that's fear stemming from perceived danger, guilt, shame, feelings of unworthiness. The ego has a way of making its narrative feel, intensely real. And then you'll start to imagine that it's real and you'll start to get involved in it. You'll start to pay attention to it and you'll start to take it serious and become involved in what it's telling you. Right? And it's so important to grasp this, because if you attempt to ignore its warning, it's just going to, escalate the situation. It's going to increase the pressure. It's going to tighten the grip, heighten the tension. Okay, this isn't just a mere inconvenience. It's the ego's way of demanding attention. And then it will often lead to a cycle of stress, heightened emotional turmoil. And if you start fighting against its influence, I said it's just going to ramp it up, trapping you in a cycle of struggle and stress. Okay, so understanding and being aware of the fact that every time that you go for something, the ego becomes activated is critical. It's super important. And as I go through this, you'll understand why. Okay, you'll understand why. Right. So let's jump into how we can understand what we're here for. What's our heart desire? Right. Now, the first step, if you've done any personal development, if you've done, any type of kind of goal setting, the first step is always to clarify what you want. Okay. But this is an area that a lot of people get wrong. Okay. Because if you're going for something, a true end result, something that your heart wants, right, then you have to be able to be connected to your heart, right? Because a true end result is something that your heart wants. It's not something that you think you want to make you feel complete in a way that you feel incomplete. Like, for example, you're in debt, so you want money to get out of debt, right? You're lonely, so you want love to not feel lonely, right? So you can see that it's the power's in the negative. Okay, so many people that I speak to, they're in a panic because they're not living their sole purpose, or they haven't found their purpose in life. But in order to move towards your highest possible path for your soul, for your higher self, you have to understand what the heart wants. The joys of the heart must be met first. Our first purpose here on earth is to live a joyful life, to feel fulfilled in our heart. And in order to do this, you must be able to listen to your heart and follow the path that it lays out for you. And this is where people get lost, because they get so caught up in fear and doubt, right? And also time. Like, I won it yesterday. Time was one that I had to deal with quite often. It wasn't even that long ago that I was still getting caught up in time. But they get caught up so much in fear and doubt that they can't hear the heart communicating with them. And the heart is always communicating. You just don't hear it. This is why awareness is so important. It's the first step in becoming a conscious creator. You need to be opening your ears, your eyes, look around, see what fills you with joy, what makes your heart sing. This is your first path. Your ultimate purpose is being true to your heart, and your heart is always speaking to you. But it doesn't shout at you, it speaks at you in little whispers, and the whispers is your intuition. This is why it's so important to cultivate awareness so you're aware when you're being guided by your intuition. Now, there's many different ways you can cultivate your intuition. I've spoke about this on another video, but at the end of the day, it comes down to knowing yourself. This is why it's a fundamental step on this spiritual journey is knowing thyself. I've done a whole video on that. Okay, the way that I tap into my intuition, now I've been practicing this for years, but I drop into my heart space. Okay, I drop into a sense, it's called innocence, which is a state of awe outside of your thoughts and feelings. Okay, and you will understand why it's important to step outside of your thoughts and feelings as we go through this. But I drop into that state of, I try and embody the creative child within me. Okay, so I've been practicing, I drop into my heart space, you know, I let go of the need to know, and I receive guidance. But I'll explain this as we go on because some of it might not make sense, but at the end of this, you'll fully understand. Okay, so if you're looking to create a life that you truly desire, right, then it's important to understand that, you know, in order to figure out what you want, you have to listen to your heart. Okay? Because most people are not focused on what they think they are focused on, right? And that might be to get your head around it. Most people are not focused on what they think they are focused on, right? They're focused on the wrong things. They think they're focused on something, but really they're actually focused on something else. Okay? And this is what I call a negative vision. And I learned this from a great mentor called William Whitecloud. Okay? And let me explain this to you. Okay? Let's say we're working one-on-one and I ask you, right? Okay, what do you want to create? And you tell me, I want to create a business. And then I ask you, why do you want to create a business? And you tell me, well, I want to change the world. Okay, now that seems noble and everything, but that's actually a negative vision. Okay, because what you're doing is you're focusing on the process and not the end result. So a true end result in this case would be my end result is to change the world. Because you don't know how the universe will conspire to help you change the world. You don't know what the universe has in store for you and how it will make your true choice come into reality. So if you're focusing on the process, which is creating a business, that's limited. You're taking everything else out of the equation. Okay? You're not allowing the universe to conspire to make it a reality because you're focusing on the process and not the end result. Okay? A true end result is something that you would like to create for no other reason other than you would love to see it created. There cannot be another reason. Okay? And this is why so many people keep recreating the same thing or recreating their past. Okay? Or they create more scarcity, more of what they don't want. Like, for example, this is when I get a lot of the time. Okay? You ask people what they want, right? They say, I want money, right? I want money. I say, right, okay, money's great to have money, yeah, right? But as an end result, that's not what they want, right? So they tell me they want to create money, right? Okay, well, if I was to lock you in a room and give you $1 billion and tell you you cannot give it away and you cannot spend it, what good would that be to you? Right? It would be useless. See, people don't want money. They want what money will bring them, which is freedom, which is security, which is, excitement, whatever it is. So they don't want money. They want what money will bring them. And this is why it's so important to figure out what is true to you. And the only way that you can do that is by tapping into your heart space. You need to be able to tap into your heart. You really have to understand what is true for you. Okay, and this is why it's so important to build that relationship up with yourself. Okay, knowing thyself. I always come back to knowing thyself. Okay, knowing what you truly desire from life. Okay, and it's not something that's going to make you feel complete in a way that you feel incomplete. Okay, there's no other reason other than you would love to see it created. Okay, so that's step one, understanding what is true for you. Okay, and not a negative vision, right? Because, as I said, a negative vision is born out of what you resist, what you want to get away from. Okay, you're going for something not truly motivated for its own sake, but because it's the opposite of what you don't want. So that means the power is in the belief or the problem or the circumstance you're trying to escape, meaning you will create more of the same. Do you get it? If you're focused on something you're trying to get away from, that's where your focus is. So you will create more of it, right? Whereas a positive vision, that is born out of something that you purely desire to have. It's not something that you perceive as what you need to get something else or that will remove you from an unwanted condition, a situation, a dynamic. It's an end result that exists for its own sake. So when you do that, that means that you're putting the power in your consciousness for that. Okay? A vision that has the power in your consciousness will manifest because nothing will obstruct it. Okay, see, the problem with having a negative vision is that, as I've just said, you're putting the power in what you're trying to get away from, what you're trying to compensate for. Okay, true end results should be based on one criteria alone, that you would love to have it for its own sake. Okay, that is it. And what I mean by love is that doesn't mean like, oh, I would like to have it, or I'm quite keen to do that. That, you know, that thrills me. No, it means that it's true for you. That's love. Okay, and I guarantee you, most of you, that what you would love to do will not make your ego happy. It will confront you. It will scare you. And that's okay, because that's what it should do. Okay? That's what it should do. And what stops most people from creating a true end result is they get caught up in this and they don't believe they can create it because they don't know how to create it. They need to know. The ego needs to know. So they get caught up in this. And as I said, we'll dive deeper, right? So step number 2. Okay, so step number 1 is we've clarified our true end result. Step number 2 is we clarify where we are in comparison to that. So what's the current reality compared to where I want to be? What this does is this sets up a void. This sets up tension. Okay, now there's tension to resolve between 2 points. The tension is like stretching a rubber band. See, most people have a bad relationship with tension and they're always trying to resolve their tension. Okay? If you cannot sit with tension, you will find it very difficult to create a life that you desire. Right? You will find it very difficult to create what you want because tension is creative. See, tension will always follow the path of least resistance. Energy always follows the path of least resistance. And as long as you're focused on your end result, the tension will resolve with you creating your end result. Okay? And as I said, at the end, I'm going to do a full breakdown on the science behind it so you truly understand it. Okay, step number 3. You step into the emotion of the end result. Okay, so you choose the end result. So step 1 is, this is what I want. Step 2 is, this is where I am now compared to that end result. The third step is choosing the end result. So you step into the emotion and you choose your end result. Okay, and you remain focused on the end result. And this is such an important part. You stay focused on your end result because your focus creates your reality. As soon as you start going for something new, something different, something that you have not created before, this is when your ego will pop up and it will give you all the reasons why you can't have it. It'll tell you you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you need to fix yourself, you need to prepare more. Your ego will do everything in its power to keep you limited, to keep you the same, because change is a risk to its survival. if your ego, like I said, becomes involved in everything you do and everything you go for, okay, your ego becomes activated, then it will present you with negative scenarios. It will present you with problems like your lack of worth, your lack of safety, your lack of capability, your lack of resources, your lack of knowledge, your lack of this, your lack of that. It'll give you all these reasons why you cannot create what you want. And then you will believe it because it occurs to you through your thoughts and feelings. And you take them to be literally true because it presents you a reality. And your thoughts and feelings are very convincing. And they convince you that what you're going for is not something that you can create, that's not viable. And you must do whatever the ego is telling you to do. Okay? You become involved in it, right? You see, what happens is people start to create an end result, right? And if they remain focused on this end result, they would create it. Okay? If they remain focused on it, they would create it. But what happens is they choose this, then they imagine a problem, okay? Which they then become focused on. So they take their focus off their end result and they now become focused on this illusionary problem, an illusionary problem that they're now trying to resolve. They're trying to deal with that now. And then what happens is this causes people to get lost, to give up on their vision, to cut down on their vision, to prepare more, to delay, to build up their personal image, whatever it is. So if you're preparing for your end result, right, you're not focused on the end result. So that will happen every time. Okay, every single time. And this is why it's so important to remain focused on your end result. Okay, let's just give a quick example, right? So, I want to create a fun, fulfilling business. Okay, just profitable business, right? That's my end result, And if I remain focused on that, I will create that. But that my ego will say, yeah, you can't do that. You don't have the qualifications. You're not good enough. Nobody's going to, sign up for your business. It's going to give me all these. So if I now try and get more certifications, educate myself, or if I start giving that any kind of my energy, then my focus switches to that. So I just remain focused on my end result. I'm going to create this. This is what I'm going to create. And as we go through, I'm going to explain to you how you can create it, but it's important to understand that you have to remain focused on your end result. Okay, it's so important to remain focused on your end result because remaining focused on your end result, despite all the noise from the ego, what you're doing is you're now telling your subconscious, right? This is what I want. And if you don't know, your subconscious mind is the creative aspect of your mind. So you're saying to your subconscious, this is where the power is. This is where the energy is. And your subconscious mind will always create based on where the energy is. So let me explain how this works, right? So you've got your superconscious, which is your intuition, your higher self, your God within. Okay, your superconscious giving you guidance. And then you've got your unconscious, which is your belief systems, your limiting beliefs, everything based on the past. So your subconscious mind is always getting two sets of information, right? It's always getting two sets of information. And your subconscious mind will create whatever it receives. Okay, but if it's getting two sets of messages, what one's it going to create? It's going to create the one with the most power, right? So, for example, you walk into a bar, right, and you see this beautiful lady or man over there, and you think, "Wow, she's attractive," and your superconscious is saying, "Go and speak to her," but your unconscious is saying, she's above your league, you're not good enough for her. So you're getting these two messages. Now, if you go and speak to her, right, which is your superconscious, you're placing the power in your superconscious. If you listen to these messages saying you're not good enough, she's out of your league, or he's out of your league, then you're putting the power in your unconscious. Does that make sense? So your subconscious is always receiving two messages. You decide where the power goes by the action that you take. Okay? So, hope that clarifies that. Step 4. Okay? So, number 4, we acknowledge that we have an ego. And the ego has a tendency to fill us with self-defeating thoughts, self-sabotaging thoughts, feelings, procrastination, problems. Okay? So when you go for something, okay, and you know the emotions that pop up from the ego, what you do is you just name them. You don't subscribe to them. So it'll tell you all these things. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. You're not capable. This, that, and the next thing. You just acknowledge them. Say, right, okay, I see that they're there, but you don't subscribe to them. Okay? So basically, you know where you are. You know where you want to be. And you choose where you want to be over you are. Right? So that's putting you in a powerful direction to creating an end result. But the ego comes in and says, but how are you going to get there? And it comes up with how limited you are, how separate you are, you're in danger. It starts telling you all of this stuff through your thoughts and your feelings. Okay? And, you know, some people believe that because it's coming through their thoughts and your feelings. So you're getting all this, what we call psychological tension. And what's important here is to just to notice what psychological tension is popping up. Just acknowledge it, right? Just acknowledge that it's there. Just notice it. Don't engage with it. Don't work it out. Don't drive it away. Don't do anything. Just acknowledge it. We must learn to turn down the volume, you know, of all this chatter that the ego's trying to put in our minds. And we do that so we can then move on to the fifth step, which step number 5 is to use our will to take aligned action. Okay, so how do we know what action to take, right? How do we know what action to take? And this is why it's so important to know yourself, to connect with your intuition, because when you're going for something that's true to your heart, you engage your natural ability. You engage your genius. Okay, you engage your superconscious. And when you're connected to your end result, your creative nature, your genius, your connections to everything through time and space, they're all your super creative faculties. They're all engaged, and your subconscious is connected to them. The subconscious, which creates your reality, is directed by the energy of your end result. So then it will manifest it. Okay? See, when you are focused on the process, getting all caught up in how it's going to happen, this engages your unconscious belief system, the process, the how, that engages your unconscious beliefs, how you can't get it. You know, the how, the process, the needing to know, that engages your ego. So you must keep engaged with your end result, stay focused on your end result, and disengaged from your identity, from your ego, from your belief systems, keep disengaged from them, and just resist the temptation as much as you can from needing to know, needing to understand. Okay, and this can be proved difficult for people, right? It really can, right? So, step 1, this is an end result that I want to create. Step 2, this is where I am now compared to that end result. Step 3, I choose this end result. Step 4, all that chatter from the ego, acknowledge it. Step 5, use your will and take the next obvious action. Okay? And this is when you will be guided by intuition. Okay? And I'll tell you exactly how I do it, right? Now, I have end results that I work with. Okay? I have 10 of them. Right? So every day I pick 2 end results to focus on. So what I'll do is I will choose the end result, right? This is what I'm going for. Okay, compared to that, where am I today? And I will, you know, no matter what it is, I'll, you know, access the current reality. Where am I exactly, truthfully and honestly compared to that? That then creates the tension, the structural tension. I then consciously choose to go for my end result. And then I sit down, close my eyes, deep breaths, drop into my heart space. Okay. Ask for the next obvious action. And I will receive a symbol. I will receive some type of guidance. I will be guided. I might not be guided right that second, but as long as I remain focused on my end result, I will receive guidance. Okay, this is why it's so important to be guided by your intuition. It's so important to drop into your heart space, to go into innocence, that state of awe and wonder. Okay, and this is why the alchemists, they use the triangle. Okay, the truth, love, wisdom. Okay, so that's the truth is where am I now? The love is where I want to go. When you hold that structure, it pushes up wisdom. Okay, it pushes up wisdom. So there will be some of you out there who don't grasp this right now, which is cool. Watch it again. You might find it difficult to understand. Okay, but I'm going to recap it and I'm going to give you the science behind it for the skeptics. Okay, so how does it all this really work? Right, it all comes down to the creative structural tension. Okay, because tension seeks resolution, energy follows a path of least resistance. So you've got your desired reality, okay, your current reality, and a choice, right? So this is where I want to go. This is where I am. I'm choosing to go there, right? So that sets up a tension that will always resolve in favor of your desired reality, your vision, because that's the path of least resistance, right? Current reality, vision, okay, choice. Together they create creative tension, right? Understanding your current reality, that involves an honest assessment of where you are now, right? Suppose you want to buy a house, right? Your current reality might involve, do you have the deposit? Okay, you might have saved nothing, or you have part of the deposit, right? But it's important to understand your psychological relationship to this goal. Do you believe you're worthy of this house? Okay, do you hold unconscious beliefs of undeserving? Right, there's various dimensions to understand where you are now. So you put everything in the current reality, right? So all of that you feel, if you feel not worthy, that's part of your current reality. You put everything in your current reality. So I want to buy this house, right? I've got 10% of the deposit. Okay, do I feel worthy for this house? No, I don't. I don't feel worthy. I feel it's too good. So you put everything in your current reality, right? Your vision represents where you want to be, your desired outcome. When you hold these two aspects, your current reality and your vision and your mind, you create a structure, right? A structure is defined by two or more points that have a relationship with each other. Your current reality and your vision are related to each other through your aspiration to buy a house. So you're creating a structure in your consciousness. So holding this structure in your consciousness sets up a tension because there's a discrepancy between where you currently are and where you want to be. This discrepancy demands resolution, psychologically and subconsciously. The demand becomes even stronger when you add a choice to the equation. So I'm choosing to go for this. You remain focused on it. I'm choosing to go for this. By stating to your subconscious that you are here, but you want to be there, you are then choosing the desired outcome. And this energizes the structure. This signals to your subconscious that the resolution of this discrepancy is super important. So when now we have this tension, if held, will drive your current reality towards your vision, resolving in the favor of your desired outcome. Right? This principle operates on the same science, as the path of least resistance seen in nature. For example, electricity is transmitted from power stations to towns via copper wire. Right? Why? Because copper is the best conductor for electricity. It's the path of least resistance. Same as rain travels to the sea or the drain via the easiest route. It demonstrates how energy always seeks the path of least resistance. Right? We are conscious beings. We are energy also. Our path of least resistance, provided we stay focused on the end result, right? Which would mean the structure is maintained, is to progress towards our vision. Any regression would only create more tension, and that wouldn't be the path of least resistance. So, understanding and maintaining this structure of creative tension in our consciousness will help us move consistently towards a desired outcome, right? And that's the triangle that alchemists use: the truth, the truth, current reality, the love, desired reality, the wisdom. Okay, it's an alchemical symbol. It's found on money, text, all over the world. They have a unique meaning. Truth represents your current reality, an honest understanding of where you are now. Love symbolizes your vision, your desired reality, where you aspire to be. Holding these two truths, current reality, vision, together leads to the emergence of wisdom, your guidance. Okay? In the context of spirituality, personal growth, consciousness, becoming a creator and embracing the tension between truth and love, that will stimulate wisdom. Okay, and one aspect people tend to suppress when they avoid tension is their capacity for insight and self-awareness. Okay, so tension serves as a psychic accelerant. It prompts the emergence of knowledge necessary to resolve the tension, thereby creating wisdom. And this is why people don't believe in their own ability, their own genius. We all have genius in us. And think about it this way, right? You've probably heard this. Scientists or inventors, they work on solving problems or achieving outcomes, right? They don't have the solution, which is their current reality, right? But they focus intensely on finding it, which is their vision. But what happens is, interestingly, the answers often arrive not while they're focused efforts on that. It's more when they're relaxed, they're having a shower, having a cup of coffee, they're going for a walk. And this happens because the subconscious mind continues to work on resolving the tension, even when they're not actively focusing on it. It propels the answers to surface. You know, this process has been known to the alchemists for thousands of years. Hence the principle, truth, love, and wisdom as a central alchemical concept. Why I've got the triangle here. You know, wisdom in this framework is not just about what you know. It encompasses an attractive force. This attraction represents the real law of attraction. Okay? Now, the popularly known law of attraction, that just think of it and it will happen, just visualize it, that's bullshit. That's only half of the equation. There has to be an action. When the kind of popularized law of attraction, it only covers half of the equation. Okay? It just says focus on that. The part that it's missing out is the current reality. And that's the same as affirmations. Okay? But when you embrace both your current reality and your desired reality, so current reality is truth, desired reality is vision, which is love, it not only propels wisdom and knowledge, but it creates an attraction factor. Okay? Resources, awareness, opportunities are drawn to you, generating further wisdom. Okay? And often it takes wisdom to recognize these opportunities when they present themselves. Okay, so I hope that clarifies it. And if it doesn't, please put in the comments, because I've been studying this for years now. And at the beginning, I did struggle with this, but I'm happy to help anyone understand this further. Okay, so I'll finish with a quick recap. End result, right? You use your will to go for your end result. What will sap your will is your thoughts and feelings telling you that you have a problem, that this is unviable. Okay, that's destroying your viability. You've got this problem and you're identifying with that problem. You're identifying with your thoughts and feelings. Okay, no, you don't have to go and solve a problem. You don't have to, listen to your thoughts and feelings. Okay, do not attach to the problem. Do not attach to working it out, to trying to figure it out, to resolving it. Okay, all your energy when you're doing that, try to resolve it, try to figure it out, is in your ego, your identity, your belief system. None of it is in your end result. Be in your end result. Don't identify with your thoughts and feelings. You don't need to resolve them. Just use your will to distance yourself from resolving your thoughts and feelings and your problems. Don't be a problem solver. Don't be a dilemma solver. Don't be a fixer, right? Because it can be addictive, right? You do not need to know, right? You do not need to know. Don't need to know, right? They don't need to know. Why? Okay? Because if you look at this is where I want to go, this is where I am now, and I choose that, you will receive wisdom. You will receive guidance as long as you stay focused on your end result. Okay? As long as you focus on your end result. If you can tap into what your heart wants, your true end result, if you can be honest about your current reality in relation to your end result, and if you can then choose to go for what your heart desires, You acknowledge the fact that you have limiting beliefs, but you don't subscribe to them. Okay, you use your will to go for your end result. And the way you do that is by listening to your intuition that will give you the next obvious step to take. If you can do that, you will be able to create anything your heart desires. I promise you. Okay? If you have found this helpful and you would like to learn more about spirituality, alchemy, and personal development, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Much love to you all. Take care. Bye bye.